Located approximately 156 kilometers north of Adelaide, the town of Burra grew out of a single company mining township centered around the Burra Burra copper mine. Established in 1848, the Burra mine was responsible for supplying the majority of South Australia's copper during its early years. Closed in 1877, it was reopened briefly in the early 1900s and then closed again until 1970, when it was reopened and ran as a mine for 11 more years. Since the final closure of Burra Burra Mine in 1981, the town has become a key tourist attraction for the mid-north region of South Australia and has done well to maintain its heritage and historical significance. As far as paranormal activity goes, Burra is a hotbed for spirit energies. With a past teeming with scandals, suicides, and a possible unsolved murder, we were keen to sink our teeth into its intriguing atmosphere. Our first investigation of Burra includes multiple locations, but with so many spirited areas and such a rich history, our first investigation here surely won't be our last. We began our night with a brief look inside the Unicorn Brewery. Established in 1873, the brewery ran until 1902 and supplied beer to not only the early Burra miners, but also the Silverton and Broken Hill mining communities. A change in brewing license legislation led to the brewery's closure in 1902. In 1911, a portion of the land was repurposed as a school residence, and in 1913 the brewery's main tower was torn down. Stone from the tower was used to build a row of cottages in its place. The cellar tunnels beneath the brewery were then forgotten until the early 1970s, when they were restored and reopened to the public. In recent history, the brewery tunnels have featured in such films as The Water Diviner and South Australian horror film Wolf Creek 2. Although we don't personally believe the tunnels are haunted and experience no activity there ourselves, they are an undeniably unnerving location nonetheless. Our second location yielded a much longer investigation, but unfortunately no paranormal activity. Opened in 1856, Redruth Jail was the first jail in South Australia to be built outside of Adelaide. Often referred to as Perry's Hotel in honor of long-serving jailkeeper Thomas Perry, the jail only housed around 30 inmates at a time, usually for petty crimes and alcohol-related offenses. Redruth operated as a jail for 38 years, before it was made obsolete by the construction of the much larger Gladstone Jail and closed in 1894. It then served as a private residence for 3 years before being converted into a girls' reformatory, which ran until 1922. Like the Unicorn Brewery, Redruth was also used as a location for an Australian film. It featured in the 1979 movie Breaker Morant. Location 3 is the iconic Burra Burra House. This building once served as one of the region's earliest banks. Now it is co-owned by our guide Sharon Reynolds, who plans to convert the building into both her residence and a shopfront for her paranormal tour business. We were lucky enough to be invited in and allowed to spend an hour investigating one of the bank's most active bedrooms. A room Sharon believes may sometimes be occupied by the spirit of a young child named Emily. Our spirit box session in Emily's room would yield our first pieces of evidence for the night and some of the clearest spirit box EVPs we've ever captured.
Remember this teddy bear? This is for my son. Do you want it? If you want it, just tell me.
I heard that. Did you hear that? That was I want it.
Baby, what's your name? teddy bear? So I've got to the point where it was the teddy bear she wanted, which she didn't want to that anyone. That one was like a body,
Say your name if you want the teddy bear.
very lightly was.
When you asked before, I thought it said Emmy.
Really?
Yeah.
You recorded it?
Yeah, I'll have to check all this stuff
Check it all out tomorrow because she is very, it's only the third night I've actually investigated every time I've got something.
I definitely heard I want it.
I want it. I sat here and I thought, I'm sure that's what it said.
Okay, can you tell me who it was that wants the teddy bear? What's your name? I don't know, I'm Sherry. What's your name?
I heard something there, but can't make it out though. We were unaware at the time just how much had come through the spirit box. We had no idea we had made contact with a male spirit named Vincent. However, we were buzzing with excitement over what we had heard, the clear and intelligent response of, "I want it." The last stop on the night portion of our investigation is a derelict manor house that once served as an infectious disease hospital. It has been investigated a number of times by other groups who have confirmed the presence of at least 3 intelligent spirits. The first is that of a young female child. Next, we have the spirit of a male teen named Zach, who is believed to have died of a drug overdose at another location, but chosen to remain at the house to protect the spirit of the young girl. And the third entity is the aggressive and unwelcoming spirit of a former male resident. The Manor House and its spirits hold their fair share of unsettling secrets and sad truths. Question is, would they be willing to share any of it with us?
Is the little girl here? Zach, if you're here, can you just say your name for me? Alright, Zach, I've tried talking about bringing up the little girl, but I'm not allowed to. Is there any way you two can move on? We can get someone to help you move on without doing that? What do you think? The little girl's indigenous? Because I should tell you skin this and get why it was a part. So I don't think she could spell because it's really good. It wasn't spelling anything Paxton. It was trying to spell, so I think it was her. That's very forceful and very fast. Like it was in there and all. Even told me the first time if I can get up and run, she just took off. And I thought, oh, okay. And then, but the more we talked to her, the more I realised it's just protecting the little girl. And there's been a lot of hits that are here, so he's probably been dealing with that shit. So I'm sort of slowly, every time it gets confidence, mainly trying to do something about it. Because it's just sad, it's still sitting there, you know? I don't know why I won't go. It's good. So Zach, if you'd like to move on, both of you, can you just say yes to the CD and I'll see what we can do? Will you leave? Can you leave?
Again, we were completely unaware that we may have made contact with the spirit of young Zack. Upon reviewing our material, we also discovered our only piece of visual evidence. Out of almost 300 still images taken on 3 cameras over 5 locations, this was the only photo containing an anomaly we were unable to explain or recreate. By reviewing a photo taken moments later, we were able to confirm that there was no light source or reflective surface that could have produced this mist-like flare. With the main part of our Burra investigation complete, we retired to our room at the Paxton Cottages for a few hours of much-needed sleep. We were only a couple of doors down from the most paranormally active room in the Paxton Cottages, and had plans to investigate our cottage over breakfast. Our morning investigation started earlier than expected due to Wendy experiencing some activity and physical touching during the night. We had done some work and had some interesting results using divining rods for the first time the previous night, and the rods were among the equipment our guide Sharon had lent us for the morning's investigation. Unfortunately, we were not filming during the first half of our cottage investigation. What we experienced while working with the divining rods, however, was clear and undeniable to us. We had most definitely made contact and were in communication with a spirit entity. With no less than 5 direct and immediate answers to our questions, we were able to determine the entity was male and was the one that had touched Wendy during the night. The entity had been drawn to our cottage by the 3rd member of the Just Hauntings crew, our spirit-possessed doll, Twinkles the Clown. We had brought Twinkles with us to Burra in the hopes he would provoke such activity. However, we are still unsure whether the activity and communication we experienced was in fact a spirit attached to the Paxton Cottages, or whether it was the spirit of our own Twinkles. Especially considering when I asked the spirit to point the rods to where in the room he was, he pointed directly to the chair in which Twinkles sat. When communication stopped on the divining rods, we decided to set up the spirit box along with a voice recorder on the chair Twinkles was sitting in. We left both devices running while we ate breakfast, completely unaware of the spirit voices trying to gain our attention.
Can you tell me how you died? That was a voice that just comes in from the table. It was very faint. It sounded like a woman. Did you just say I'll never tell you?
tell me how you died? Was that beaten? Can you tell me what your name is? Tell me your name. Thank you so much for talking to us today. Can you tell me how many people are here? How many spirit people are at the cottages? Is it just you? Was that 7? Can you say that again, please? That's it for this episode. If you'd like to keep up to date with all of our future investigations, you're welcome to subscribe to this channel. Also, come find us on Facebook for all the stuff that doesn't make it into these episodes. If you'd like to learn more about upcoming ghost tour / investigation events in and around Burra, check out the Paranormal Team Spirited SA Facebook page. Our friend Sharon Reynolds is a wonderful guide and runs investigation events quite regularly. We also recommend checking out the Ghost Crime Tours webpage or searching Ghost Crime Tours on Facebook. They offer a number of tours and investigations around South Australia that are worth checking out. Alternately, you can contact the Burra Visitor Centre to arrange a non-ghost related self-guided day tour of Burra's many heritage locations, including Redruth Jail and the Unicorn Brewery.